All right, we are officially kicking off Module 1 of the Reclaimed course. And I just want to tell you again how thrilled we are that you have joined us for these next 4 weeks of honestly some of the most incredible, powerful, transformational work that you can do. Because when you gain self awareness and learn how to manage your mind, you can really start to change the trajectory of your life. And that's exactly what this course is all about, moving the needle to get to where you want to go. Again, my name is Kelsey. I'm going to be your coach over the next 4 weeks. And before we dive into this module, I just want to remind you again, you have the private Facebook community. So anything that comes up as we go through these modules, if you have questions, if a thought comes to mind, or if you recognize a specific mindset block or limiting belief, or something that really challenges your brain and you have a breakthrough and you want to share, please take it to the Facebook group. You have incredible coaches there to support you. And we are so excited to see and celebrate the transformation and changes that you have along the way. And then also don't forget to bring any questions and coaching that you need to the live coaching every Friday. I will be teaching you and coaching you one-on-one. So feel safe to raise your hand and know that it is a safe space, it's a private space, and we are truly committed to keeping it that way. So if you have any questions about that, of course, just let us know. But I wanted to give that little preface in there that that is where you will have support. You can get your questions answered and get one-on-one coaching inside of our Facebook group. So we're starting with Module 1, and Module 1 is all about self-discovery. And it's honestly one of my favorite modules because if we don't take the time to lay a foundation and to figure out who the heck we are and our starting point, it's so much harder to get to where we want to be. Imagine, we've got a compass as our logo for this course, and it makes me think of traveling and road trips. And back in the day, whenever we still used MapQuest and printed directions out, you had to have a starting point. And that is crucial whenever you are doing any sort of personal development or growth journey. You have to slow down and look at where you're starting at, because that helps us know the direction that we want to go. If we don't know where we're starting from, it makes getting there very hard and takes a lot longer than it has to. So we're going to start with self-discovery because it's a great way to turn inward, have some time to figure out who we are, because life gets very busy and we want to really dig into the foundation before we start giving you actionable tools and tricks and tips to help you start changing your life. So I just wanted to kind of tell you why we're starting here, because it is really important. I know you're going to be anxious to, tell me all the things, tell me how to change my life, but we're going to start here. So chances are when you were a little girl, you probably had big dreams. You had an active imagination. You knew you wanted to be a veterinarian or a marine biologist or an actress or a singer or write a book someday. And you had all of these things. And for your mind then, they seemed totally possible and doable. And then as we go through life, our lens kind of shrinks a little bit because we realize life actually is pretty hard and so much can come up along the way. And a lot of times we stop dreaming and we lose those dreams to the chaos of life. And doesn't necessarily have to be bad things. Sometimes it is, but it can also just be the rhythm and the monotony of marriage, parenting, work, all of the stresses, household chores, things like that. And it just feels like there's no longer time to dream anymore. And so as we move through this module, I want to encourage you to really look at, do I have any dreams that I've been forgetting about, that I've been suppressing along the way? So, in a world that is buzzing with hustle and bustle, you will find immense power when you learn to be still and look within. And that for sure has been very true to me when I have learned to sit still, to think about what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and really get in tune with myself, with my soul. It is so transformative. It's very powerful because we are so busy. It's easy to overlook that. We're always looking at our to-do list, but not really taking the time to check in with our soul, to check in with our emotions, to check in with our thinking. And that is exactly what we're going to learn how to do. So I want you to kind of take some time to visit these questions, and hopefully you've printed your workbook. There is space in your workbook for you to have journaling time every day throughout this course. So Monday through Friday, you're going to have a single page or a couple of pages in the workbook that takes you through specific journal prompts, specific exercises that help you not only apply this work to your life, but take it deeper and have a deeper understanding of who you are. And I think you'll be really surprised by some of the things that come up as you're journaling. And the more you get to know me, you will also learn that I'm a huge mindset and brain nerd. I love the way our brain processes information. And don't skip over the journaling prompts, because there is actual science to the pen to paper. And we want to help our brain make that connection. When we write something down, it is the equivalence of reading it several times. Our brain makes a different connection and uses different parts of our brain to process and retain that information. So it really does help you apply and take everything deeper into the next level. So when you're thinking about awakening your soul, when do you feel the most excited? When do you feel the most inspired to take action, to speak up, to advocate for something or someone? What ideas come to mind when you think about, what is my unique purpose? Why am I here? What beyond motherhood or my career or my marriage is there for me? So, using your answers from those journal prompts, I want you to create an intention for your life to take action towards one of those dreams. So, if anything popped up and you thought, you know what, I completely lost sight of this dream, this vision, this goal, I want you to figure out. We're going to be working on figuring out how to implement that, how to bring that back into your life, how to take action towards it. So that is exactly what I want you to do. Write that down on a note card or a Post-it so that you don't forget about it, that you can kind of revisit it on a daily basis. Maybe stick it on your bathroom mirror, maybe stick it on your fridge or inside of your planner or your journal, where you can remember, hey, this is really important to me. This is really inspiring to me. This is something I forgot about that I definitely don't want to forget about again. So, self reflection is basically exactly what we're doing for self discovery. Self reflection, simply put, is just taking time to focus inward and answer important questions about ourselves, such as who are you? Who are you at the core? Who do you want to be? What are your core values? These are all things that, again, we want to know now before we start moving forward and bringing those visions to life, those dreams to life, making changes, because we want to know what is the most important. What are those non-negotiables as we move forward, as we pursue our passion, our purpose, as we pursue a dream? We want to have a solid foundation that we build upon. So the better you know yourself, the better you can not only understand others and also impact the world around you, but then you can also make a greater impact because you're chasing your vision and your dream with a solid foundation underneath you. So, who are you at the core? Establishing your core values allows you to build your life around what matters the most. So, I want you to think about, we have this, base, this foundation. Again, I'm using that word a lot, but that's exactly what it is. We have this foundation, this core in ourselves that helps intertwine every single area of our life. And so we are going to go through an exercise here in a minute where we're going to build a master list of core values. And this master list becomes your lens, your filter, your rose-colored glasses that from then on, those core values are being used as the filter for how you make decisions, how you make choices, how you eliminate things, add things, decide what to do, not to do. It allows you to feel consistent and authentic in everything you approach and do. So this is an exercise in your workbook, and I would love for you to definitely set time aside to really read through these. If you figure out, you know what, none of these are really standing out to me, or I feel like there's a couple of missing, there are a million core values out there. You can find them on Pinterest, you can find them on Google, but these are some of the ones that have come up the most often for me and for my clients. So I wanted to share this list with you, but just know this is not all of them. So if you want to find more, you're definitely free to do so. What this exercise looks like, you're going to read through the entire list of core values. And like I said, more may come to mind as you're reading them. That's totally fine. You can jot it down on your worksheet. Next, I want you to circle or highlight or asterisk, whatever you need to do, next to the 10 words that jump out at you the most, that really are like, yeah, that's super important. I need that in my life. Then, this is the hard part. We're going to narrow that list down from 10 to 3 to 5, no more than 5 core values, just for the sake of simplicity. The human brain has a hard time remembering more than 6 or 7 things at a time. So we want to really keep this list small for a reason, so that we have a focus that's not too large, but a focus that we can really hone in on and use as our filter as we're making decisions, as we're filtering our life, as we're moving forward. We're using these core values to stay consistent and no longer be in ambiguity. So this is one of my favorite exercises because it really helps us decide. For example, one of mine is integrity. So if I am, as a business owner, if I'm making a decision or I have a client that wants to work with me and it just doesn't feel quite right because one of my core values is integrity, I am willing to say, out of integrity, I don't think this is the right fit. And that allows me to stay honest and feel authentic and consistent in every area of my life, because I do that at home with my kids and my family. And I want to carry that over to my professional life as well. So as you go through these core values, what tends to happen with my clients is a lot of times they find some of them surprising or they notice patterns. And so I would love for you to kind of journal about those top values. Did anything come up as you were going through that list? Were any of them surprising? Did you notice any patterns? How well are you honoring these values currently in your life, and what needs more energy and attention? That last question can feel like a toe-stepping question. And I want you to just take it with a little bit of grace and know this is not a place, any of the reflection time for that matter, is not a time and place for you to judge yourself, shame yourself, make yourself feel bad or guilty for not giving more time and energy to something that is really important to you. Because again, that just doesn't serve you. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. We want to be controlling the things that we think, the things that we feel, the things that we allow or don't allow, because we want to be directing everything towards serving our purpose, serving ourselves in the highest and best way. And honestly, engaging in those self-shaming, judgmental thoughts really just don't serve you. They don't help you move forward. They keep you stuck where you are. So I want to challenge you that if you said family and faith, for example, as 2 of your core values, and you suddenly feel bad that you don't go to church more, I want you to really give yourself grace and know this is not a time for me to beat myself up. I am here to empower myself, to lift myself up, to challenge myself, to rise, to grow, to pursue what is important and what my purpose is. And this is just a way for me to observe that and then make changes moving forward. So that's how I'd like for you to kind of reflect on the core values exercise. But it is important for us to know, hey, this area could use a little bit more work. And then we're going to figure out how we can make that happen in your life. Not just know this needs more attention, but we want to also look at where can I make this fit in more? How can I create more of this in my life? And that ties right into this. What's holding you back from having more joy in your life? Joy is one of those things. Happiness is kind of a surface level. We experience happiness really quickly. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We have this emotional increase suddenly. Joy is more like this feeling of contentment. And what I call joy, for me, that feels more like this place in my soul where it's just this feeling of contentment and peace and fulfillment. So when you're thinking about joy in that term, what's holding you back from having more joy in your life? This is a great journal prompt, and I would definitely take time to dig into this. So uncovering your purpose a lot of times is connected to the things that bring us joy in our life. So for the next 5 days, I want you to notice and jot down the things that bring you joy. This is an exercise in your workbook, and there's just little daily lines in there, 5 days where you can jot down the things that bring you joy. What brings us feelings of joy and inspires us to take action or affect change in the world are often connected to our purpose, like I said. Now, it's very easy as we're jotting down the things that bring us joy to write down things like air conditioning, my kids, my dog, my husband, flowers, sunny days. And all of those things are great. And I want you to be noticing those things. However, I want you to also dig a little bit deeper. Do you notice a pattern in activities or the people you're around, things that bring you joy? Is there anything that stands out that you would like to experience more? So maybe you attend a Bible study and you leave and you're like, you know what, that brought me so much joy. I want to attend more of those. Or maybe I might challenge myself to lead a Bible study. How would you like to incorporate more of these things into your life? Really be thinking about that as you get to the end of the 5 days and you're reflecting back on things that brought you joy that also might be connected to your purpose. I want you to be thinking about how you can incorporate more of that into your life, because that's exactly how we move closer to our purpose and we create more joy in our life. So this next part here, creating a vision. What is your dream life like? And this is a very powerful exercise. And before we move forward too far, I want to just put a disclaimer that I am a Christian and I believe in God's plan and that He created everything and that He has a story written for all of us. We also have free will. We also are co-creators because we can make decisions in our life. And so, what this means for me, this vision statement is really thinking about the way God made me and following that creation, following that plan for my life, the things that are on my heart that are important, that bring me emotion, that make me happy, that inspire me. I truly believe that those things are tied to the way I was designed. And so, I don't want this to come across as some sort of manifesting type thing, which is totally, if you're not a believer, we all have different beliefs and that's totally fine. But I just want you to know that if you are a believer, that is my heart in this exercise. And it's very, very powerful because we know where in the Bible that the power of life and death is in the tongue. So the things that we're thinking about, the things that we're saying come out of our mouth and we can help create those things in our life. So this exercise I did several years ago at a leadership retreat, and it was incredibly powerful. At the time, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, nah, I don't know about all this. But I did it. And it basically is like a journal entry that you're writing to yourself 5 years into the future from today. And so it's like I woke up this morning and I smelled coffee brewing. And I heard the kids playing and laughing quietly in the other room. And we hung out in our pajamas for 2 days or 2 days. We hung out in our pajamas for a couple of hours and snuggled up and watched a random movie. And then we decided we were going to go to the park and enjoy the sunshine that day. And so that's kind of what I want you to be thinking about as you're journaling as though you're describing a day in your life 5 years in the future. What do you hear, see, smell, feel? Who's with you? Where are you? Write it as, like I said, a journal entry and be so specific that you can feel the experience. By the time I got done writing mine, I was emotional because it reminded me the things that are truly the most important. Like if I could have one last day on earth, all of those things came to mind. And it also showed me the things that were missing, the things that I really wanted to create in my life. And at that time, it was very intentional family time and being fully present, not on my phone, not being distracted, not being like, oh, I have a million things to do, but just being fully present and soaking up every bit of the moment that I had with my family. And so it brought me a lot of emotion because that was missing in my life. And I imagine that that might happen for you too. So the reason I'm telling you about my experience is because I put that paper away after that leadership retreat, forgot all about it. 3 years later, I was cleaning a bookshelf. That paper fell out and I picked it up and read it, not realizing what it was. And it hit me that everything on that paper had come to fruition. And it was it gives me goosebumps. It was such a beautiful moment. I just stood there in praise and awe, like, wow, look at you actively working in my life. And I just thought that was the coolest thing, that I had shown up to my life and done the work to make the changes to fulfill God's design and plan for my life as a woman and as a mom. And it was a really pivotal moment for me. So I want you to do this exercise, and I would challenge you to keep it somewhere. And maybe you revisit it so often, or maybe you put it somewhere that you're going to find it in a couple of years, like I did, and see how you've done working towards that vision for your life. So I love this quote. The great secret of getting what you want from life is to know what you want and believe you can have it. And that's exactly what that vision statement is all about. Knowing what you want, knowing the purpose, the nudge, the tugs on our heart, the things that we feel so inspired and passionate about, knowing that we want those things and that we can have it. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is John 10:10. I came so you could have life and have it to the full, have it in abundance. And that's exactly what we are working on creating for ourselves in this course. And I'm so incredibly excited to keep moving forward with you. So we're going to wrap up by going over the key points of this module. I'll do this every module just so you can have a recap. Because we've talked about a lot. So the first part was really, like I said, awakening your soul. It requires you to look within. It requires you to be still, to be introspective, to not be afraid of self-discovery and things that might come up, and being willing to not suppress the things that you're thinking and feeling, or being afraid to embrace those dreams that feel big and scary. We also created alignment in your life by crafting a master core value list. Like I said, these values become the filter for how you choose to live your life. And then we talked about uncovering joy that already exists in your life and then creating more time for the things that light you up. So we want to be creating this place where we're creating joy and we're seeking joy. And that can really help us keep a positive lens on our life and a resilient lens on our life, because life isn't always daisies and rainbows. So when we are intentionally creating and seeking joy, we are so much more likely to find it. And then last, self-reflection, aligning your values and seeking joy help you create clarity for the future. Bravely create a vision statement. So that was the last exercise that we just did. And you can begin working towards that and enjoying today fully. So here was our module 1. I am so encouraged and excited by what is going to come up from this module, and anything you discover about yourself. Like I said, share in the Facebook group. We want to hear all about it. Any reminders or dreams or, anything that ignited a fire underneath you, definitely share it with us. And we can also start helping you figure out, how do I make this happen? Like, I've got this thing that I forgot all about. So excited about it. Now what? So that's exactly the kind of stuff that I want you to bring to the Facebook group and to bring to live coaching. And I will see you there to coach you through all of the parts of module 1.